Many people have told me that I could not commentate games on the radio, or they didn't think that I could do it because I cannot see, so I had to just keep trying and trying. The broadcasters that I look up to are the ones who are always willing to let me commentate with them, and they don't have any problems about giving me that opportunity since I'm blind. They don't doubt that I can or cannot do it since I can't see, and they're just willing to have me on, so I'm really grateful for those.
Every day, we're bombarded by everything wrong in the world. When we pick up our phone, turn on the TV, or listen to the radio, we hear all about the heartbreak and destruction happening across the globe. But what if we could change that? What if we could begin to heal the world by focusing on all that's right? We're surrounded by stories of those helping their communities, achieving amazing things, and overcoming insurmountable obstacles. My name is Kelly Rowland, and it's my mission to share stories of love, hope, and inspiration on Born to Inspire podcast.
So here as the Aces try to pick up another win on the season after going through a 3-game losing streak, a loss to Indiana, then a loss to Ohio, and most recently a loss to the Racers of Murray State on Wednesday evening. Evansville coming in facing a red.
Welcome to episode 11 of Born to Inspire. That voice you just heard is Bryce Weiler. He's an unbelievable talent with a big heart. Bryce is a disabilities consultant for the Baltimore Orioles, the co-founder of A Beautiful Lives Project, an organization that makes activities like sporting events accessible to individuals with disabilities. He's also a sports broadcaster who just so happens to be blind. This guy is a phenomenal talent who never, for one moment, doubted he could achieve his dreams of working in sports. Bryce Weiler is on his way to superstardom. His story has been featured in USA Today, The Washington Post, and on ESPN Radio. You are not going to want to miss this episode. But before we get started, here's a quick message from the Deconstruction Workers podcast.
The average cost of a 3-credit-hour university course in America is $1,782. You could pay that, or you could listen to the Deconstruction Workers podcast and get a semester's worth of college knowledge for free. Popular culture professors turn their academic knowledge towards all of your favorite movies, television shows, theater productions, and more for free. The Deconstruction Workers podcast is available at thedeconstructionworkers.com or on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Overcast, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcast fix. Give us an hour and we'll make you smarter. Money back guarantee.
Welcome to Born to Inspire, Bryce.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So you were born blind. How did you develop an interest in sports?
I grew up listening to Brian Barnhart commentating Fighting Illini basketball and Don Fisher commentating for the Indiana Hoosiers, and then also listening to the St. Louis Cardinals games with Mike Shannon, the Chicago Cubs games with Pat Hughes.
Awesome. Tell us about your work commentating sports. You work alongside, right, with the play-by-play announcer and give facts about the game?
Yes, I am the second radio broadcaster on the broadcast, analyzing what is happening on the radio. And I do that by studying facts on both teams, by speaking to a coach from each of the two teams, and by, if it's basketball, and there's a microphone on the basket, by shooting baskets on the rim beforehand so I can figure out if the rim is loose or tight and how the ball is going to bounce.
That's amazing. What sports do you commentate for? Is it just basketball or do you do other sports?
I have commentated men's and women's basketball, both in college and in high school basketball. I've commentated college soccer. I've commentated minor league baseball. I've commentated college baseball as well as college softball.
About how many games have you commentated at this point?
I've commentated 140 sporting events since February 2011, which was the first time that I ever commentated.
That's amazing. Do you have a specific play-by-play announcer that you just really look up to? I know you mentioned a couple people earlier, but is there anybody else?
So I enjoy listening to those broadcasters, but the broadcasters that I look up to are the ones who are always willing to let me commentate with them, and they don't have any problems about giving me that opportunity since I'm blind. They don't doubt that I can or cannot do it since I can't see, and they're just willing to have me on. So I'm really grateful for those.
Now, it wasn't easy to get that first opportunity commentating sports, was it?
Yes, many people have told me that I could not commentate games on the radio, or they didn't think that I could do it because I cannot see. So I had to just keep trying and trying.
You have a really important message, I think, because so many people, after so long of getting, rejected, they kind of give up, and you just never gave up. And look where you are today.
There really isn't any reason to give up, because if you give up, then you're going to let all the people who doubted you believe that they should have doubted you for whatever someone's trying to accomplish in their life, whether it's working in sports or something else. So giving up never was an option for me, because I wasn't going to let people hold me back from living my dreams.
Yeah, and I think that's an inspiration to others, to probably many, many others. I also read that you're a color commentator for a team called the Bees. What is a color commentator?
So the color commentator is the role that I perform working with the play-by-play broadcaster that I've done on all of the radio broadcasts that I do. And that baseball team is the New Britain Bees out in Connecticut. And that was how I got one of my other roles as the co-founder of the Beautiful Lives Project, which we'll get to at some point during this podcast.
Now, I read where you were a manager for a men's basketball team in Illinois. Are you still doing that?
I was a student manager for the University of Evansville Aces men's basketball team when I was in college from 2010 through 2014, but I have not really done that as much since then, since I graduated. But I'm really thankful for the former Aces head men's basketball coach, Marty Simmons, for giving me the opportunity to sit on his Evansville men's basketball bench, because it really changed my life and it gave me the opportunity to experience sports.
Wonderful. In addition to broadcasting, you're also co-founder of the Beautiful Lives Project. Can you tell us about that?
With the Beautiful Lives Project, we work to help people of all disabilities to live their dreams in programs in sports, art, cheerleading, dance, ballet, and many more programs across the country. We have chapters in Los Angeles, Raleigh, North Carolina, Dallas, Texas, Green Bay, Wisconsin, a whole plethora of cities and small towns across the country. We're always looking for more chapter presidents.
Now, I was wondering if you could explain what beep baseball is.
So I have experienced beep baseball before. I haven't played it as much, but last year during one of my nonprofit events where I had people with disabilities playing on the field with AAU softball players from Triple Crown Sports, in Cumming, Georgia, we had a beep ball team come play with the softball players from Athens, Georgia. So these high-quality softball players got to experience what it was like to play their sport blind. So it really showed them not to take playing sports or playing softball for granted.
And what about athletes? Are there any major athletes you're hoping to meet?
I'm not sure. I haven't met too many athletes, actually. I know many coaches. I think I can better relate my life story to that of coaches more so than athletes, because coaches have had to overcome obstacles and people doubting them, and sometimes the athletes who play sports have had to overcome obstacles too. But normally when the athletes get to a high level, they sometimes tend to really get caught up in the fame and the stardom. So right. I normally talk to the coaches who are more, who are people who are more willing to speak with me. But I would definitely love to speak to any athletes from any professional sport. So if there's any of your listeners out there who know any athletes who think might want to talk to me about sports or my life or the Beautiful Lives Project, at the end of this, I will give my contact information before we say goodbye, Kelly, and people can share that with whoever they would like.
Excellent. Now, do you have any stories of individual people that have benefited from Beautiful Lives Project?
We have had so many smiles, so many people's lives have been changed. I would say that it wouldn't be fair to single out one person and say his or her story is better than anyone else's. Last year in 2018, we served over 3,000 individuals of all disabilities and helped them live their dreams in so many programs, from playing on the field with their favorite sports teams, which are great programs, to learning how to quilt, being able to dance with a college dance team at halftime of a basketball game, being able to perform with a college cheerleading team, and so many other interesting events and programs across the country. And it's been life-changing for not only the people who are able to participate in the events, but the host organizations, the parents who are able to see their children do things that their children dreamed of doing their entire life, or things that the parents never thought that the child could do because of his or her disabilities. And that's why this work is so rewarding and so powerful.
Now, you also make sure these sporting events are accessible to people with disabilities, right?
We also do that by ensuring that every group who comes to an event, that they are able to have the best experience possible. I have trained the staff of the Beautiful Lives Project how to accommodate people who are in wheelchairs, people who have autism, basically every disability that someone might have. I have worked to train the staff how to work with these groups of individuals to have the best experience at any event or program that the Beautiful Lives Project puts on. Because sometimes when someone goes to an event, say someone who's blind, and if the event host has never worked with a blind person, then that blind person does not have a really good experience.
So, for example, do you make sure there's interpreters for deaf people at every single game and stuff like that?
Yes. When we need sign language interpreters there, we will get them there. If there's people who are coming to events who are in wheelchairs, if it's on a grass surface, or if the surface of the event might be hard for someone who's in a wheelchair to get to, we ensure that there is an alternate route that someone who's in a wheelchair can take. For example, at the dance program, sometimes in the basketball gyms, it can be hard for people who are in wheelchairs to get down to the court. So we'd find a place where they could sit down by the court for the entire game and not up in the seating bowl.
Awesome. How did you come about to create Beautiful Lives Project? Tell me the story about that.
I emailed Anthony Icavone, who's the owner of the New Britain Bees baseball team, and I told Anthony how much sitting on the Evansville men's basketball bench and working with the Aces team, thanks to the gracious consideration of Coach Marty Simmons, had changed my life, and how I wanted to give that opportunity to individuals of all disabilities to help them to live their dreams in whatever they were passionate about: sports, art, cheerleading, dance, any of our platforms. And Anthony said that those were programs he really wanted to do and he really cared about doing. So he was gracious enough to give me that opportunity to help people live their dreams.
All right. That's pretty cool. Do you have any idea about how many people you've helped so far?
We're up over 6,000 to 7,000 right now. We've helped around over 1,000 this year, and we're hoping to get back to doing events and programs soon. But this year still has a chance to beat our record year of 2018, where we served over 3,000 people. So we're doing quite well for 2019. Sometimes I forget what actually year it is because I'm so busy doing nonprofit events. I forgot it was 2020 for a second. Our record-breaking year of 3,000 was in last year, 2019, and this year, 2020, we've served over 1,000 people.
That's amazing. That's such good work you do. How has COVID-19 affected what you do with A Beautiful Lives Project?
We haven't been able to do many in-person events, but we have done events on social media. We have given out coloring books to individuals who are in group homes and other games that they can take part in. I myself personally have gone on many radio shows and podcasts such as yours, Kelly, to talk about the Beautiful Lives Project, and hope to find more chapter presidents and just try to inspire people to overcome the obstacles and challenges that they are facing in their own lives, no matter if they have a disability or if they do not, because everyone has their own obstacles and challenges that they are facing.
Wonderful. As a child, did you have any idea you were going to grow up to do these kinds of things? What kind of kid were you? Where did you get all this ambition?
I always listened to sports when I was younger. When I was younger, I thought about working as a history teacher in the schools. But as I got older, I realized that being a teacher would be hard for me, not because I couldn't grade someone's work if they typed it up and sent it to me, but I really never know if the students were not paying attention in class. They could be on their phones, and if they were really quiet, or as the phones and computers and all the technology have advanced more from year to year, people have even more ways now they can act like they're doing something when they're not, with the AirPods and all sorts of things like that. So I figured out history probably wouldn't necessarily work. So then I started trying to find things I could do in sports. And when I finished up in graduate school in 2016, it was really hard for me to find jobs working in sports because so many sports jobs had moved to graphics and social media, which were things that I cannot really do too well since I cannot see. So I thought about what had been most influential throughout my life, and that was being able to learn how to be a blind sports radio broadcaster, and how Marty Simmons gave me that opportunity to sit on the Evansville men's basketball bench. And I wanted to allow people of all disabilities to be able to live those dreams. So I started contacting professional sports teams and then got in touch with Anthony Icavone and became a part of the Beautiful Lives Project.
What do you see in your future? What other things would you like to accomplish in your future?
I'm really happy doing what I'm doing now. I would like to have more Beautiful Lives Project chapters across the country, help more people of all disabilities to be able to live their dreams. I'd like to get more professional sports teams across the country to make their stadiums more accessible for fans of all disabilities, not just picking one or two or three groups of people of all disabilities, but really doing things for every group, because every group is important. And those are really what I'd like to do. I also enjoy speaking to groups and companies about my life, talking about how people can live their dreams and how it's important to give people of all disabilities the opportunity to have a great job and to be a part of the workforce as a whole.
What inspires you to do what you do?
There have been times in my life where I have really needed someone to help me, and I have not had anyone there, and it's been really, really stressful for me. So anytime someone needs help, if they're blind or in a wheelchair, someone should go ask them if that person needs help, and to just, if that person turns you down, you should always be willing to ask the next person whether or not he or she might need help, because that person may really need your help. So just because someone is a little harsh when you've asked them for help and they turn you down, you shouldn't just not ask the next person, because the next person, they might really need your help. Speaking a little more on the Beautiful Lives Project, we try to make sure that people of all disabilities have the help that they need, so they don't feel that lonely feeling that I did during the times when I needed help and I needed individuals to help me to be successful. Because the events and programs that we set up in our 5 platforms, they're all really fantastic. But one of the major benefits is breaking down the barriers and stereotypes that people of all disabilities face in their lives. Because breaking down those barriers and stereotypes, those can lead people of all disabilities to be able to live their dreams and to be able to find a place working in society in a job that can give them passion and can help them to live their best life possible. And that's something that I work on with companies as well across the country, helping companies to ensure that all their jobs are accessible for individuals of all disabilities, and that while people of all disabilities may not be able to do every single job, that there's a wide variety of jobs that every person of any disability can take part in. So it's just making sure the job is accessible and making sure that the person has the proper training to be able to complete the work and to be able to be successful in that role. So that's something that I've done, is working with companies to help them to do this and to show them that it's important to give people of all disabilities the opportunity to work and to be successful. Many people told me that I would not be able to work in sports because I cannot see, and I had to prove many people who doubted me wrong. They told me I couldn't broadcast games on the radio as a blind radio broadcaster. There were even commentators who did not want to commentate with me because I cannot see. People also told me that I couldn't work in sports because I can't see. And I've been able to help sports teams make their stadiums more accessible. I've helped the Baltimore Orioles become the first team in sports to wear Braille on their jerseys to honor people who are blind. I've given people of all disabilities the opportunity to play on the field with the Orioles players and coaches before 2 Orioles home games at Camden Yards. And I did most of that by myself. I did have support from my family and support from people in sports as well, but there's still a large part of the people in sports who still think that I cannot do things because I cannot see. But I'm not going to back down or to give up. I'm still going to try to pursue my goals and to live my dreams, because it would not be right to let people who doubt me stand in my way. Hopefully some of your listeners will be interested in viewing our nonprofit website for the Beautiful Lives Project. And that website can be found at www.beautifullives.org, www.beautifullives.org. If they would like to be a chapter president, they can contact me, and I'll give out my contact information here in a couple of minutes. Or they can contact any of our other Beautiful Lives Project staff members under the Who We Are tab. We are always looking for more chapter presidents in big cities and small towns across the country and the world to help people of all disabilities to be able to live their dreams, break down barriers, and eradicate stereotypes. If anyone would like to learn more about me, my life, the Beautiful Lives Project, hiring people of all disabilities for employment, or anything else that I have discussed on Kelly's Outstanding podcast, they can email me, text me, or call me. And my email is bryce@beautifullives.org, BRYCE@beautifullives.org, and my phone number is 812-899-5673, 812-899-5673. People do not have to have any experience. They just need to have a passion for this work and a willingness to learn. If they have the passion and the willingness, we can help them with the rest.
Thank you, Bryce, for everything you do, and thank you for coming on Born to Inspire podcast. You're definitely on your way to superstardom.
Thank you, Kelly, so much for having me on. You really had some great questions, and I really give you a lot of credit for starting up a podcast, because I know how much time and dedication it takes to do something that you love, but every time you produce a podcast, you get that same feeling of satisfaction that myself and the staff do with the Beautiful Lives Project every time we help create more smiles and help people through investing in smiles to live their dreams.
Bryce Weiler is beyond impressive. He has that sheer determination that no one can take away. And you know, when you ask people what they want to accomplish in their future, almost everyone has a few things on their list. I think Bryce is the first person who said, I just want to expand on the things I've already done. He's literally living his dream. I also think he'd make an awesome motivational speaker, so watch out, Tony Robbins. Thank you everyone for listening. If you or someone you know have an inspiring story to tell, I would love to have you on the show. Just drop me a line at borntoinspirepodcast@gmail.com. You can listen to more episodes at borntoinspirepodcast.com and on most podcasting platforms. And I've also started a blog. You can read my latest post on my website under the BTI blogs tab and at Bloglovin. I would like to thank my executive producers, Richard Randall and Mary Helm. And until next time, don't forget to share some inspiration.